This is Rob Carbone, and you're listening to BD4.
Here's Barrett from shaking big. Hits a three. That's eyes in the crowd with Barrett. 5 on the 24. Barrett previously in the air ball. The drive, the layup. That's it home. Gets it back. Keeps it out Barrett. Barrett for three. RJ Barrett from downtown. Quick trigger three. Gets another triple. Looking for more. Smith to the buzzer. Now it's gone. J.R. Smith from way downtown at the buzzer. No one could overlook. Puts it in. They're on their feet at Madison Square Garden. Alley-oop to Ewing. That'll make the Garden more.
Patrick Ewing faced a double team, but still was able to hit.
Finish. And the foul. East ducks under. Got it. 1:18 left.
So they draft Obi Toppin at number 8. They get their offensive weapon, who they needed an offensive force, who will probably be in the Rookie of the Year discussion. They go and get a solid shooter in Emmanuel Quickly at 25. They make a decent move for three draft picks in 2023 in the second round. They make another decent move in free agency, bringing a guy by the name of Alec Burks, a wing who can shoot the basketball. Okay, on a deal that's worth, I don't know, it was like pennies. It wasn't big, $6 million maybe. So good, right? Off to a good start. You drafted well. You got a shooter in free agency, but then the dominoes start falling for the other clubs, and there goes Hayward, there goes this guy, there goes that guy, there goes Bertans, there goes Gallinari, there goes your fallback options and DJ Augustine, Jeff Teague, Chris Dunn. There goes all of these guys who the Knicks could have potentially targeted. Malik Beasley. There goes a lot of these guys they were targeting off the market. Just like that, signing big major deals. Okay, whatever, right? Still, we were hoping we could have grabbed at least one point guard to run the show. Didn't happen. Okay, so we're going into the season. Didn't get our guard in the draft. Didn't get our PG in free agency. The market's pretty much dry now. Nobody really is left. Outside of some unrealistic options. So you say, all right, we're likely going to go into the season doing the right thing here, right? We waived all of our expendables. Portis just signed with Dallas. Gibson's not coming back. We signed Nerlens Noel, good athletic backup bench depth center. So we're likely going to go into the season with doing the right thing. While we don't have a point guard and that's an issue, we're going to do the right thing for where we are now. We're going to let Dennis Smith Jr. try and climb his way out of his own hole. We're going to let Frank Ntilikina develop, and hell, maybe we'll give some minutes to Jared Harper or Lamar Peters, down in Westchester. A couple hours earlier today, and it is Saturday night as I speak, I get the news Elfrid Payton is being welcomed back into New York. Elfrid Payton is back. Listen, if you watch this Knicks team, you know exactly. And if you religiously watch them, and I don't know who's even listening to this, who's watching this, probably got like one viewer, 2 listeners. At best, but for the sake of getting this conversation in and ranting and venting, if you watch this team religiously, whoever you are out there, you know exactly why you don't want Peyton back on this club. Bringing back Elfrid, it dampers everything. It tells you where the Knicks are heading right now. And it doesn't it doesn't make you feel good about where we are. You know, it kind of tells you, are we really going to go this route again and try to band-aid our way in? You know, if you watch this Knicks team with him there last year, you know what it is. This is a player who's been in the league for a while now. He's not once improved from his rookie season up until last season. He's been the same, 10, 11 points guy, 6 or 7 assists, who cannot shoot at all from three-point distance. And he just has no fit absolutely on this Knicks squad. No fit at all. It doesn't make sense. It's ridiculous. It put a damper on everything for me, and we're going to get into all that in just a second as soon as we get back from break. You're listening to BD4. I am your host, Rob Carbone. This is episode 182 of the podcast, and a little last-minute podcast tonight. So I got the news on Payton. I just want to rant, let it out. So we'll be right back, and we'll start talking about it as soon as we get back from break. BRB. Hey guys, so real quick before we get back to the show, just want to make sure that if you haven't yet subscribed to the podcast, do that right now. Go to nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. Once again, in order to subscribe to the podcast, and if you want, subscribe to the blog and follow me on social media, just go to my website, nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. Guys, thank you so much, and let's get back to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis, brought to you by Anchor. So, you're listening to BD4. This is Rob Carbone, your host of BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We are sponsored by Anchor, the best way to get your podcast. And you can start your own podcast on Anchor from your phone or from your computer. Now, the Knicks, okay, so they've got their, Mitchell Robinson a couple years ago in the second round, building block, right? That's why they've made it known they're not putting him in any trade conversation. RJ Barrett last season, same thing. Building block, made it known he's untradeable. You don't want to move him. He's your guy you're building around to. You get Obi Toppin. Now you get a third very talented player. So you have 3 young, talented players who could end up being, all-star caliber on your squad. Okay, so 3 guys that you want to start eventually, right? You want to have them in that starting rotation and starting lineup and, and play every day for you and get big, 30, 35-minute games. So you bring in Elfrid Payton to run things. That's the head scratcher. It's just a terrible fit when you pair Elfrid next to RJ, Mitch, and now Obi Toppin. Those 3 guys, RJ, Mitch, and Obi, they love to run. They love running the floor, right? They're always running in transition. They're always playing the full court game. Elfrid Payton, 20% shooter from deep, plays the half court game. He's a half court point guard. Those guys can't shoot. Elfrid can't shoot. So if you're putting RJ, Mitch, Obi can shoot, but that's his swing factor. And if Randall's still here, you've got a bunch of guys, starters, paired with Elfrid, who, let's be honest, they signed him for a reason. He's going to be starting again. So that's 3, 4 maybe guys in one. That's 3 guys of the starting 5 who cannot shoot the basketball to save their lives. We're supposed to be building the roster to improve RJ, Mitch, and Obi. You don't do that by bringing back Elfrid, who can't shoot the ball himself, and when he's passing the ball, gives it to one guy. Freezes out everybody else, and he's going to pass to Julius Randle and nobody else. He'll hold the ball for 20 seconds of that shot clock, run in circles, do a rondo, and then he'll pass it. And it'll be to Julius Randle. He freezes out R.J. Barrett. Very occasionally he'll throw a lob to Mitch, but it's not enough. It's the patty cake game between Payton and Randle that Knicks fans have seen enough of. He's an assist hoarder. So you could tell me all you want. Oh, he puts up 10 and 7. He's a good point guard. What's your problem with him? My problem with him is he's counterproductive to what we're trying to do. I don't care if he has his high stat games. It's not productive to what our main goal is. We won 20 games with Payton as the starting point guard last year. Really? I'd rather lose a bunch of games with guys like DSJ, Frank. And I don't care if they're bad. You play them to improve them so they can learn or so you can evaluate those young kids long term. You don't just bring back Elfrid, another veteran stopgap who's just counterproductive. The youths sitting on the bench last year was enough. But to do it again, to continue to push back these kids further down in the depth chart, it doesn't make sense. All the guys fall off the free agent list. They're signing again. All those guys. Van Vliet, you never got that done. You wanted that, you never got it done. Chris Paul, Phoenix. Your fallback options, Augustine, gone. Teague, gone. Chris Dunn, gone. All those guys are gone. Whatever. You could have at least just settled for the young kids on this roster right now and at least lost with them as opposed to losing the same amount of games with an Elfrid Payton. I would have even preferred, and I don't even love this guy. I don't even love this kid. I think he's been overrated for a while. But people may start, I don't know. I would have even traded for Lonzo Ball. I would have. Anything. This Elfrid Payton is bottom of the barrel. He shot 20% from three-point distance. A high volume of his assists went to Randle. He doesn't benefit developing this youth, the youths on this team. I don't care if I'm repeating myself, man. I would have fucking done it. Packaged maybe the Dallas pick in 23, along with a lottery, protected lottery pick and maybe a player. I could have got it done. I would have done something. Or nothing at all. And just, again, went with the kids who are already here. And I don't want to hear the whole fucking, oh, it's 1 year. Oh, it's $5 million. Stop overreacting. It's not the deal. It's not the length. It's not the finance. It's not the 1 year. It's not. I don't care if it's just 82 games or whatever it is this year. I don't care. I'm not worried about the deal. I'm worried about him being on the court. He doesn't benefit the team. And it goes back to what I said in episode 181, which was yesterday, that I would rather, lose or win a low amount of games with the kids that are going to be here or that we're trying to figure out should or should not be here long term than a guy that we know is just temporary and isn't that productive when on the court anyways. I'm just tired of it. It was a head scratcher. Maybe Leon Rose signed him because Payton is a CAA client. Is that what we're doing? We're doing a bunch of CAA clients in Kentucky, guys. That's what it seems to be. That's the pattern right now. That's what we're doing. Outside of Payton, again, I like what they're doing. I think we've got cap flexibility. We've got young players now, and then we've got some draft picks, some capital. But still, Payton, no. It's not it. It's not the answer. It's not even the short-term answer. Again, the short-term answer could have been a Van Vliet, could have been an Augustine, yada, yada. Somebody who's at least productive. somebody who could at least help, further the development of an R.J. Barrett, a Mitchell Robinson, and now an Obi Toppin. But you get Payton in there, who doesn't even mesh well. Half-court point guard playing with, 3 other athletic guys who are in this rotation who love to run the floor. It's not working. So I can already see how the Knicks are going to play this out. He's going to start. He's going to put up enough, the numbers will be enough to where he will get his starts. And the shooting will remain bad. All we wanted was spacing. All we wanted was floor spacing. That's it. Just modern NBA spacing. And we can't even get that. We get Elfrid Payton, can't shoot. Nerlens Noel, can't shoot. Ed Davis, can't shoot. The only guy we've gotten outside of in free agency who can shoot, Alec Burks, and he's an average 3-point shooter, which is huge for the Knicks. But I mean, we had all these guys, all these options out there we could have gotten. Guys that can shoot the basketball at the point guard position, guys that can benefit and fit and mesh well with the prospects that are on this roster right now. And we decide to bring back Elfrid. I don't know, man. I'm not ready to see this again. I hope that Frank or Dennis comes into camp, yoked and fucking just looks fit or looks fucking ready to put on a show. And one of them can win the starting spot in camp and they produce in the season and they put up 10-5 and they play defense because Peyton's a pretty lazy defender. He's a capable one, but he's pretty lazy. He doesn't run the transition well. But I'm hoping one of Dennis or Frank or whoever, comes into camp and looks really good. I don't think Dennis is as bad as he was last season, but I don't know his ceiling. Frank, Frank seems like he's gonna, listen, we're 4 years into his career now. I think Knicks fans have to start, realizing he's not going to be lottery worthy. He's not going to end up being an all-star player. He's probably not going to end up being your starting guard. And he's probably not even a point guard. They've barely played him at point guard. He always plays off the ball. And to be honest with you, that might be his best role. To be that wing coming off the bench who can play off the ball and shoot the corner 3 and play defense, of course, for you. That's it. But again, I would rather still use him at point guard, temporarily than this. Dennis Smith Jr., I know a lot of people don't want him here. But at least, I wouldn't mind starting him to try and build his trade value. Start him temporarily. Maybe find another point guard by the deadline. Anything but scraping the bottom of the fucking barrel with Elfrid Payton. We'll be right back. Hey guys, so real quick before we get back to the show, just want to make sure that if you haven't yet subscribed to the podcast, do that right now. Go to nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. Once again, in order to subscribe to the podcast, and if you want, subscribe to the blog and follow me on social media, just go to my website, nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. Guys, thank you so much, and let's get back to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis, brought to you by Anchor. I'm trying to think, is Joe Harris still available? I would be surprised if he is. Everybody's been going. So if he is, you got to get on that. But I'm sorry, man. We didn't get our shooting. Well, we got Quickly in the draft, but outside of Quickly and maybe Alec Burks, and hopefully Obi Toppin, it's still not enough. We don't have shooting. You hope that you can get Joe Harris. I would love him. I don't think that's realistic. He's probably gone as I'm speaking. So, who's out there? Is there anybody out there left who can shoot the basketball? That Jordan McRae kid? I don't know. Fucking shit. A bunch of whatever deals, and this Payton deal comes along, and it's bottom of the barrel. It's just garbage. You gotta question it. I'm sorry. I don't know, man. What are we doing? I don't know. Okay, I'm just kind of at a loss for words. It just, and it's nothing against Elfrid Payton. Sure, he's a cool dude. It's more the Knicks just not doing competent things. And I was really hoping Leon Rose wouldn't fall back into this. It wouldn't be this dumb. But here we are. And again, it's not about the fucking deal. It's about stalling and waiting and just pushing aside development. It's about being counterproductive. It's about time we get going here. You don't want your engine this year, fine. But get somebody who's going to fill the void temporarily and be productive for the team and for the young kids trying to grow individually and as a unit. The answer is not what we're doing here. It's not it. 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 Carmelo Anthony's back in Portland. That's sad. Obviously he wouldn't. I don't think he would fit here anyway. But anything else? I don't know. You know what? Honestly, guys, I wouldn't be too shocked if Julius Randle was now kept around. If we're trying to bring back as many guys from last year as we did, trying to rework that, trying to rework some deals and try to fucking keep players. I don't know. Bullock is here, Peyton's back, and we're gonna keep Randall now. Is that it? Is that what we're gonna do? That would be the biggest mistake the Knicks could do. It would make the top-end pick, kind of useless, especially if we're gonna start Randall. Why can't the Knicks do what other NBA teams do and fucking start all their rookies and sophomores? All the guys that are part of their long-term plan, why can't they just start them and give them 30 minutes a night? Even when Mitch isn't in foul trouble, they don't fucking let him play long. RJ Barrett is probably the only guy who they run out there for a while. But outside of him, you didn't do it with Mitch. I'm having a hard time believing that Toppin, especially if Randall isn't traded right away, I'm having a hard time believing Toppin's going to get a start over him. I feel like Tibbs, knowing him, loves the vets, is going to give him minutes before he does Toppin. Toppin's going to be off the bench for a while, and I'm not fine with that. Normally I'd be okay with it, but remember Toppin's 22, right? He's older for a rookie. He's polished already. He's likely going to be NBA ready. And like I said, I believe he'll be in the Rookie of the Year conversation. I think he could put up double-digit point totals, averages already. I think that's going to be a given if he can stay healthy. I think he'll be able to rebound you 6-7 per game, depending on how many minutes he gets. Maybe 25, 30 minutes at that rate. Hopefully. But I just have a feeling it's going to be the same pattern. This Elfrid thing makes me feel like we're going to do the same shit and not really treat our young kids how they should be. And the Thibs, as the head coach thing doesn't make me feel too confident in that aspect either, because we know how he could be with vets. this whole thing put a damper on everything. I was fine with everything leading up to this, but one of my most hated players on the Knicks in a while. Up there with the Enes Kantors of the world. And that says a fucking lot. All right, guys, so let's get to the question of the day and we'll wrap this one up. All right, so last time out in episode 181 of BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Fucking can't talk. All the fucking time I'm slurring my words. Fucking shit. All right, last time out in Ep 181, I asked you guys who wore number 40 for the Knicks in the late 90s, early 2000s. The answer to that question, Kurt Thomas wore number 40. All right, so that was the answer to episode 181. Now, tonight's NYK question of the day is, other than Chicago, where else was Tom Thibodeau a head coach at? All right, so after he left Chicago, I'll give you a hint. There was one more team that he coached. Which team was that? Pretty easy one to me, but you let me know the answer. Comment on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or you can just message me on them, on those three platforms, preferably Facebook or Instagram, being that I'm not on Twitter a bunch nowadays. But if you do want to reach me, Facebook and Twitter is at the handle of NY Sports Talk RC, and if you want to hit me up on Instagram, that is at Rob J. Carbone. Be sure to follow me there. As for the podcast here on BD4, you can watch us, or if you're listening to us, thank you for that. Watch us on YouTube and listen to us on Apple, Spotify, Google, and plenty more platforms wherever you get your podcasts. Just go to my website for all that junk, nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. We'll take you to a page that displays all my information. Guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you stopping by. I'm your host, Rob Carbone. This is episode 182 of the podcast. 182 of the podcast of BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Brought to you by Anchor, where it's the best way to get your podcast, and you can make your podcast straight from your phone, or you can start your podcast if you wanted to straight from your computer. But Anchor.fm, download the app, go to their site. Great place. Great platform for a podcast. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'll see you in episode 183. Hopefully, and I say it with the utmost hope in me. I'm praying that the Knicks can fucking do something here to make me feel a little bit better for the remaining whatever's out there in free agency. Hopefully we can do something to salvage this fucking clusterfuck we put ourselves in by bringing back Elfrid Payton. Guys, thank you so much. I'll see you next time. All right, ciao. This podcast is sponsored by Anchor.